Hi, I am Mr. Sebastian, and I'm doing the NHS Who They Are interview. Thank you to the website team for putting this together. I'm excited and slightly intimidated to share all this information. So, what is Mr. Sebastian's favorite class to teach? Well, these days it's a little bit easy because I only teach one class, but fortunately, it's also my favorite class, literary analysis. I've been teaching it now for, I believe it's 16 years. One of my favorite classes ever. I actually took it when it was called Literature 12 back when I was in high school. Changed a little bit, still really fun. Love being able to have excellent juniors and seniors that are taking each and every year. Question number 2. What is the craziest hairstyle Mr. Sebastian has ever had? This is actually a fun story. So I'll say 2 things. My hair kind of straight now, looks kind of normal. When I was in high school, I had the craziest fro, really curly hair ever. Now, I had cancer when I was in high school, so then all my hair fell out and it came back straight. Funnily enough, right away, it came back straight and blonde. And as you can tell, there's nothing blonde about my hair right now. So it was so funny for those who knew me as like a really curly haired, dark haired guy to see me with straight hair and blonde hair. And it was honestly just, it was not a good look for me because it started growing in dark underneath. So it looked like I had frosted tips. Maybe a good style for the 90s, but this isn't the 90s anymore. So fortunately it grew out dark, and here it is today. All right. Question number 3. What is my least favorite Jane Austen novel and why? Well, maybe my favorite one will come out. I have to say, I think it's Northanger Abbey. Northanger Abbey, there's some good benefits to it. It wasn't a great experience for me reading it for the first time. It's a kind of a satirical novel that Austen does, where she is kind of making fun of a lot of modern kind of mystery stories, modern to her, kind of contemporary. And so in order to understand that, I kept looking at the end notes. And one of the real big plot points at the end, I won't spoil it for anybody who hasn't read it yet, got spoiled for me sadly when I was reading it. So it's a fine novel, but it ranks at the bottom list for me for that reason. All right, next question. Oopsies. What is Mr. Sebastian's biggest pet peeve? Interesting. I would say my biggest pet peeve is when people refer to dogs and pets as their children. Now, sure, dogs and pets are fine. They're wonderful, but they're not children. And as a father of 5 myself, that just really grinds my gears. So my literary analysis students will know I've ranted about this sometimes during our classes. So yeah, don't call yourself a dog mom or a dog dad. It's not cute. It's not cute. What was Mr. Sebastian's experience like rooming with Mr. Endres? So James Endres, really good friend of mine. He was in my wedding. He's the godfather to our oldest son, Joseph. And we had a lot of great times together. Now, James would probably say that his pet peeve was how many alarms that I had set in the morning to try to get up. But honestly, we would just have a ton of fun together. So we roomed together for all 4 years at college. We both went to Thomas Aquinas College, graduated class of 2013. And then we roomed together when we started working for Mother Divine Grace School, and he was local in this area too for a few years after that. One of my favorite core memories of working with James is that we would just read P.G. Wodehouse all the time together, and like we reading simultaneously at the same time. We kind of realized that we couldn't do that all the time because neither of us would actually read. We would just be reading the funny lines out loud to each other, which was great because we got to laugh at them, but it just meant that P.G. Wodehouse is very funny. So we would read not much in the hour that we were actually reading together. So it's kind of roommate bonding, less actual reading. So it's one of my favorite memories of working with James. All right, what was Mr. Sebastian's major in college? So great question. I went to Thomas Aquinas College, and one of the great things about Thomas Aquinas College is that it's an integrated curriculum. So we all get the same major. And that's one of the great things that we have as a kind of a commonality of those of us who attended Thomas Aquinas College is that we all can kind of talk about the same stuff. Just over last night, it's been 12 years since I graduated. I had a bunch of current students over last night just to kind of hang out. A lot of them are seniors. And we were still able to talk about all the same stuff because we all did the same classes. And one of the awesome things too is that you don't have to choose. I mean, choosing the college is in itself a choice, but you get a bachelor's of liberal arts degree. That's the start. And in terms of credit hours, it basically breaks down to a double major in philosophy and theology and a minor in math. So it's kind of like a math history, but you do get to do some pretty intense stuff in junior year. So liberal arts is my college degree from Thomas Aquinas College, and it served me well so far in my life. All right, let's go again. What is my favorite thing to rant about? So let's go back to then my least favorite after my least favorite Jane Austen novel. My favorite Jane Austen novel is Emma, and I love to talk about how Emma is kind of the perfect novel to read for a person of goodwill on how to achieve virtue. I think there's a lot of real amazing depth there. I love Emma as a character, and that is because I've read it 30 times at this point in time. But you get more depth after reading that. So I will rant for a long time about how much I love Emma. She's not all that bad, even though people like to think that at the start. So I will rant about Emma all day long. There's probably other things that I could think about as well. All right, let's go here. What is my favorite place that I have ever traveled to? Oh man, this is a hard question. But I would say Maui is my favorite place to have traveled to. That was our place where we took our family on our first ever family vacation. Wonderful, beautiful time, a beautiful island. It looks like all the movies say, and it's just a wonderful atmosphere, wonderful culture. It's tough to go wrong with Hawaii, and it's still in the United States, so you don't have to worry about your passport or anything. But that is one of my absolute favorite places in the world. Holds a special place in my heart. All right, what is my favorite Taylor Swift song? Oh gosh. I mean, Love Story is a classic. Although there are times when I will listen to Welcome to New York, and I don't mind it. I do not mind it. Let's just put it that way. What is my opinion of pumpkin spice lattes? Okay, so I say this as somebody who I drink normally just black coffee. That's what I'm drinking right now. I drink black coffee and I drink water. Like, those are the two things that I drink. But occasionally, when I'm going to a place like a coffee shop, I get like the craziest sugary drinks ever. So I'll get like the like cold brew topped with some kind of like rich cream and whatnot. And even though I don't drink them all the time, when I get one for my wife, or maybe it's kind of getting it for myself and then maybe just hers is the excuse, I'll take a sip. I don't hate it. I think that maybe pumpkin spice everything is a little crazy, like especially if you go to Trader Joe's and you see how intense it is about the 5 different pumpkin spice cookies and like pumpkin spiced like muffin mix and whatever. But there's nothing like fall is probably my favorite season. I love fall, and having just the pumpkin hit that right, hit your taste buds right before you get to the crisp in the air and Thanksgiving time. I don't hate it. Let's just put it that way. All right, on to number 2. Has Mr. Sebastian ever dyed his hair? No, I have never dyed my hair. I believe it's gonna be all natural, and I don't have any gray hairs yet, and I know it's coming. I know which child is going to be the one who actually gives me the most gray hairs. But it's okay. It's okay. Even when my hair, like I mentioned earlier, was kind of like looked like I had frosted tips. I was just like, I guess this is what my hair is going to be like right now. Fortunately, it changed, but never dyed my hair. I don't like it. Do I have any food hot takes? Maybe this is a hot take, but I really like pineapple on pizza. And I'll do it with like one of my favorite pizzas ever has pepperoni and garlic uh, and jalapenos, and the pineapple serves as a pretty decent kind of combination to work with all that, so that it doesn't have, let's say, the real too much spice. It's not cloying in terms of like the hotness. You want to have a little bit of the sweetness. Just pineapple, not a fan. But as it kind of used as a way to balance out like the saltiness with the savory components, having a little bit of sweetness, I like it. I like that a lot. Do I prefer Star Wars or Lord of the Rings? I mean, I like both of them a lot. I think that there's a lot more depth in Lord of the Rings. I grew up as a Star Wars kid. My parents went to go see the original movies in the 70s and then raised me on them as well. And then when the sequels came out in episode 1, 2, and 3, loved them, even though there's a lot of downsides of them too. But Lord of the Rings is a special place in my heart. I just rewatched the original trilogy or I guess the Peter Jackson trilogy over the holidays, over Christmas time, and it's incredible. It's really good. So I'm gonna have to say Lord of the Rings. Maybe make some of you guys happy. Do I have any pets? No, I don't right now. It's just some of it is our state in life. Although my wife has always said we're gonna get a dog at a certain point in time, and my children tell me that all the time too. Right now we don't, and that's just the fact of our life. We used to have some fish back in the day. Had some gerbils for my Mother Divine Grace School natural history project. I was trying to have them run a maze in a certain amount of time. And let's just say they started attacking each other, and I found neither of them died. Didn't work out quite as I had planned. So right now, no pets, but I know my wife would say yet is the answer. Do I prefer dogs or cats? This is going to be the one that gets me into trouble. I think I would say dogs. Like growing up reading like Where the Red Fern Grows, Summer of the Monkeys, you kind of have that nostalgic place where, a boy and his dog out in the wilderness. But I like cats. I used to love just like running around barns when I was a kid and seeing like the barn cats they would have to keep the rats and the mice away. Something to be said for both. But if you've got to pick, I guess I'll be a dog person. That'll make my wife happy too. Do I play any sports? So right now I'm at a position in life where I don't have a lot of time for team sports. But I grew up playing hockey, soccer, baseball. Right now, I actually am a coach for my daughter's soccer team, and my boys play soccer as well. So I've become that. We've been playing a lot of baseball with the kids just in the field next to our house. So getting ready for them to, start doing little league and things like that. But hockey was my sport growing up. But I like to play everything. I actually wrote my thesis at TEC on the purpose of sports and culture, just kind of as a community building and also just an avenue for good to shine light on areas that are we need commonality. And we need to actually have role models to look up to. Maybe we don't have as many role models in sports as we would like right now, but that's definitely something that I think is the capacity for sports right now. So I'm moving more into sports that I can play with 1 or 2 or 3 people. So I love tennis. Tennis is one of the things that keeps me active. And here in Southern California, we've got a lot of tennis courts around. And I love golf. Now, you might say that that's a game, not a sport, but I still get sore after walking around with my clubs and swinging my clubs for far too many strokes. I'd say I'm not getting close to par. So I'm not a good golfer, but I enjoy it. All right. Do I think Richard III killed the princes? Absolutely not. Hard stop. Um, Duke of Buckingham. I think maybe the jury has changed a little bit of information since I did this debate, but very least I can say Richard III exonerated. Exonerated. I heard there's a movie that they just released about that, and I want to watch it. Do I have any studying tips or advice? Yeah, so actually, that's a really good question. One of the things that I think, especially for me, when I'm doing work that's not Mother Divine Grace School work, is guys, you got to put your phones away. You got to put them away. That's always a distraction right there. Try to have your space be something that is made for a certain purpose. So it could be really tempting for you to be like, well, maybe I don't want to miss a message. But the thing is that you're going to, it's not going to be as productive as a studying session. It's going to take longer when you get distracted, and you probably won't be as good either. So I say, put your phones away. Tell your parents that. Say like, hey, mom and dad, like, just so you know, I'm sure that they will be happy about this, but I'm going to go down and I'm going to read for 90 minutes, leave my phone upstairs. Like, feel free to check it for me if there's anything coming in, like I'm expecting a message from so-and-so. But I'm amazed at how often it's the case for me when I'm needing to read for a class or something like that. And I'm just like, oh, I'll just read a little bit right now. And I keep like looking at, even like having a computer screen open in front of me, keep looking up, even just to look at the time, which is just ridiculous. That doesn't make a lot of sense. And then it takes maybe 50% longer than I expect. So just try to be as focused as you can as focused as you can when it comes to what you're focused on in that moment. It's like in Leaf by Nickel, he needs to be able to be good about putting down one thing and then moving on to another thing in the moment without kind of freaking out about like that. Like, okay, like what's that thing that was happening before? No, just be really focused as you can on one thing, and that'll actually be the best thing. All right, let's see. If Mr. Sebastian had to change his entire name, what name would he choose? That's a good thing. I gotta say, I love my name. I love Chris. But we've always had a great devotion to Saint Joseph. That's where my oldest son is Joseph. So I think Joseph would be a really, really good name. And in terms of last name, maybe this is kind of a cheat, but Sebastian is my last name. But it comes from the Greek Sebastiavis. And somewhere along the way, somebody got lazy, Ellis Island, I don't know. And so they changed the V to a B and made it like more Americanized. But I still think Sebastiavis is an incredible name. So I would go with Joseph Sebastiavis. All right. What does Mr. Sebastian like to do in his spare time? This might shock none of you, but I love to read. It's one of the things I do all the time. I also love to watch sports. So I'm from Detroit originally, and I love watching my Detroit sports team. So I'm a big baseball fan. Tigers are my team. Big Red Wings fan. Pistons are actually on the up and up right now. Lions, great. I love watching Michigan State Spartans too. So this probably doesn't shock you as somebody who wrote his thesis on sports at TC and sports and culture, but I do like to love sports. I love to read, love to spend time with my kids too. And my wife and I have been lately watching more old movies too, which is kind of fun. So it's a good thing, good reminder, even when you're married, so many of you guys will get married, it's good you want to be able to spend quality time with your spouse that isn't just about, what needs to get done or doing work. It's good to just, I think there's probably cheesy books that they're called like Date Your Wife or whatever, but it is true. Like you need to actually spend some time together. So Steph and I, even though she doesn't love watching sports as much as I do, we try to get together and watch some movies, at least for our Sunday night date nights. Some good old Cary Grant, Audrey Hepburn movies. There's some great ones out there. Charade. If anyone hasn't watched Charade, that was my favorite movie that I watched last year, I think. What movie would Mr. Sebastian choose to live in for life? Oh my goodness. This is a great question. One that I've never thought of before. Wow. So probably couldn't be an action movie, right? Because if it was an action movie, uh, I'd be in danger of dying all the time. Um, but maybe if I knew that I was going to be okay. Lord of the Rings is a fun one. Like, would it be nice to live in Hobbiton? Probably. Like that would be a good vibe. Because I'm thinking that most of my favorite movies are intense. Now to go back to like that Cary Grant, Audrey Hepburn vibe, like there's something about the movies in like the 50s and 60s that are nice. Like, you know, everyone's dressed in suits and you've got a nice, you know, the cities seem a lot nicer than they used to be. So maybe I do go with something like that. But I mean, Hobbiton's kind of a fun thing, fun nerdy thing to say. All right. What is the strangest thing Mr. Sebastian has ever eaten? Oh gosh. Um, well, that's a really good question. Uh, I know that this is I was working an event and we went out to a Japanese restaurant afterwards, and I actually don't even remember exactly what it was, but I know that my friend wouldn't tell me what it was until after I had eaten it, and it was some kind of like fish eggs or something like that. And it was very salty, and honestly, it didn't taste terrible, but definitely odd. That was pretty strange. What tips does Mr. Sebastian have on being professional while still making people feel at ease? That's a really good question as well. So part of that is that you have to get comfortable enough with what you're wanting to talk about and with yourself so that you can just almost let your guard down a little bit while also still having that persona be professional. It's one of the things that you guys can start preparing right now for your careers and in your college life as well, is having knowing that every action that you're taking is a step towards or against who you want to be. So trying to be as polished as possible in your professional work environments, trying to avoid bad habits such as swearing and sinful habits at this point too. So avoiding things of that nature. Really trying to make sure that even in every interaction, something you wouldn't say something to one person that you wouldn't say if another person was around, or your parents are kind of a good thing like that. If you are being professional and yet still fun, that's going to be something that will go a world of a ways in being a very professional individual. So that's going to be a really good thing for you going forward. What is Mr. Sebastian's favorite work of literature? Great question. So I think Emma is the greatest novel written in the English language. Now, Lord of the Rings is a great epic. I do think that War and Peace is very excellent, and it's kind of because its scope is so massive, and Tolstoy is just a lyrical genius. I think that is one of my absolute favorites. You can gain a lot from it. But I really love Austen. I really love Till We Have Faces. But if I'm just picking one, I'll say, partially because I want to reread it, I'll say War and Peace. I really like War and Peace. What was my least favorite high school subject? I mean, everyone's gonna say math, right? I mean, I was good at math, I was fine at math, but never was my absolute favorite. So I think I got halfway through. I got like the single credit for advanced math, and then didn't finish off that second advanced math. Part of that was because I had cancer in my senior year of high school. But yeah, I'll say math. I'll say math for that. What was my favorite part of college? And this is because I'm a Thomas Aquinas college grad. I just loved, and this is something that I hope a lot of you will experience when you're going to whatever college you go to. I love Thomas Aquinas College, but the discussions and being able to dedicate yourself solely to a particular purpose, and that's in the sense, studying is amazing. Studying is fantastic, and it's not something that you're going to be able to do for the rest of your life. But here, you know, as a father, I work a couple jobs. I also parent my children. you're always being kind of pulled in different directions. So while you're in college, enjoy just the fact that you can focus on doing intellectual things, forming friendships that'll last for a lifetime, and in a really awesome setting where you can walk around. You probably won't live in a walkable city in the rest of your life. Um, you don't have to think about food. I mean, you're paying for food and whatnot, or maybe you're living in an apartment off campus, so you do have to think a little bit, but not as much of like food for a family or something like that. Be focused on what is in front of you, going back to what I had said before, and you'll have a lot of fun in that. All right. What did Mr. Sebastian want to be when he was younger? Uh, I wanted to be the first ever priest who was an NHL goaltender. No, I will not elaborate on that. That did not work out necessarily for me. It's a father of 5 children, but I think every young Catholic man should think about wanting to become a priest and then take that call seriously. And so that's something that I definitely I definitely wanted to do, be that first groundbreaking person. What sports does Mr. Sebastian watch? I did talk about this already. I watched a lot of my favorites. I will say I love watching baseball and football, and then hockey is one of my favorites as well. All right, so number 4. I'm sorry that I'm taking so long, guys. In case you can't tell, I like to talk. What was Mr. Sebastian's first date with Mrs. Sebastian like? Classic. Asked her out for coffee. Found out that we both did not like what people called TAC dating. I think this happens in a lot of other colleges too, where people just hang out a ton and they're like together but not necessarily dating. Mrs. Sebastian and I both did not like that. And so I just asked her out for coffee, went to a place called Rabelais in Santa Paula. For any of you guys who have visited Thomas Aquinas College, it's a wonderful spot. Definitely recommend it. And we just talked about our families, talked about all sorts of stuff. It was a wonderful date. I think it was on St. Patrick's Day, randomly. And yeah, like it went very well. It was the first of many dates. First of many dates. What is my favorite part about being a dad? This is where I could go on for a long time. It is an incredible responsibility to be a father that is also very, very rewarding. But the ability to form individuals to know, love, and serve God, like how can you say no to that? It's a really wonderful and beautiful thing. So something that I personally love. And right now, I just love playing catch with my kids. Playing catch is the best. It's just a simple thing that means the world to them and to me. So I love that. What was my favorite rock band from the 80s? Oh gosh, I'm terrible at this. Can I just look up 80s rock bands? Because I like to listen to music, but I am really bad at trying to remember where they are. Aerosmith, yeah, Jovi. I'll say Journey. Don't Stop Believing. Yeah, Don't Stop Believing is a jam. Yeah, so I'll say Journey was one of my favorite rock bands from the 80s. What is my favorite part about being Mr. Advisor? I am the only chapter advisor that our chapter has ever had. It's been 13 years now. Really wonderful to just be able to see every year 150 plus people growing to be as good leaders and servants of others, demonstrate their high character while having a commitment to scholarship. Seeing that growth in leadership, though, is something that I love. And working with the chapter officers each and every year, seeing how they grow, seeing how all of our members are growing each and every year, it is so edifying to me. It's one of my favorite things. What is my biggest flaw? What is my biggest flaw? Well, I one time scored 7 goals in a hockey game. I think that's a pretty good flex, right? 7 goals is that's a lot. That's a lot. But I like that a lot. What is my favorite genre of music? Yeah, I guess I used to be more angsty and love like pop punk and things of that nature. right now, stuff has been getting me into more like country, which I never thought that I would like. But actually, what I really like is jazz. I think jazz is an awesome genre of music, and it's fun to listen to, but also it's nice to have on in the background. So yeah, but like, some of those '80s bands that we were listening to, they've got some great stuff, some really good stuff too. What is my biggest fear? It's becoming heights. I'm getting to that old state of life where I just freak out about leaning over a railing, even if it's like 3 stories high or whatever. It's unfortunate, and I do some rock climbing and things like that to try to like overcome it, but it's not a natural thing to me. Do not love heights. What is my favorite joke? What is my like in terms of a dad joke? Um, why why do you never see elephants hiding in trees? Because they're really good at it. No, I will not elaborate. All right, now we're making some pace here. All right. How did Mr. Sebastian propose to his wife? So, I set up everything pretty nicely. So we had a spot on a beach where, so we had gone out on some dates, but it was the first time that I asked her to go steady, to be my girlfriend, whatever. And it was a beautiful spot on a beach in Southern California, so just up the road off the one highway, the PCH, the Pacific Coast Highway. And I planned everything out, and then we had a ton of rain, so I showed up to the beach, and there was no beach there. So I found a very nice rock that was on this retaining wall that was protecting the road, and it was where we were sitting. Like for the whole time, it was a wide enough rock for 2 of us to sit, and I had a picnic, so I was kind of recreating our first official date. And the whole time I was nervous that the ring was going to fall out of my pocket, because I would just have never found it. It's like this tower of rocks. Worked out really well. We were right next to the road, so when I proposed to her, got down on one knee, everyone around us kind of knew what was happening. There weren't people, but everyone was driving by in the PCH and started honking. So it was kind of a fun story, fun times. And we still go back to that area of the PCH occasionally. How did my family discover MODG? This is where I could get to a long story, because my mom is a consultant with Mother Divine Grace School as well. I actually went to Catholic school for a little bit of time, and stopped in 4th grade. We had a long story there, but we found that our call was homeschooling, and my mom is a great researcher, and so she was going around looking at like what are the various options, and Mother Divine Grace School really kept occurring to her. And a lot of that is because my mom spent, I think, hundreds of hours in adoration praying about this, and that's, I think, a real testament to my mother, and testament to the power of grace when it comes to, guess what, you should probably be taking more things to prayer, even things that if you think that you're praying enough about something, you probably aren't. So whether that's your college decision, or a career choice, or even like a decision about your spouse, future spouse, yeah, you should be praying about it more. Definitely keep praying. So that was that. And I think that actually Laura Berquist had come to a homeschool conference in Michigan, where my family is from, and she's incredible. So that was kind of the truncated version of that. How does Mr. Sebastian construct a PB&J? 2 pieces of bread. You have to put the peanut butter on one side, put the jelly on the other, put it together, cut it in half so it's rectangles. I'm not a triangle guy. Rectangles, easy money. I have to say, I am kind of a smooth peanut butter guy. I'm not really a crunchy guy, but when you have really good crunchy peanut butter, it works out. How many kids does Mr. Sebastian have now? So we've got 5. You've got 2 boys, 3 girls. Sorry about that. Yeah, so we just had our 5th a few months ago. So she just turned 3 months. So yeah, 3 girls, 2 boys. The boys aren't quite so happy that the girls have pulled ahead at this stage in life. How does Mr. Sebastian personally pronounce MODG? In case you can't tell, MODG, I don't say Maj. I think Maj sounds silly. So as for me in my house, we will say MODG. No one calls it TAC. Call it TAC. We're not gonna call it MODG. How does Mr. Sebastian personally follow the vocation of a busy life until set aside time for prayer and spiritual growth? Yeah, that's hard. You have to be intentional about it. And it's something that if you're not completely paying attention to each and every moment, it can be easy to just not forget to forget your prayers. And so finding a time and a place to do that all the time is, I think, the way that you want to do it. Whether it's even just, okay, right after dinner is when my family does our chaplet or rosary, depending on the time and season that we're in. And then right before you get into bed, kneel down. So having those moments where you're able to do it, you have to be intentional, because otherwise the world is going to just kind of keep pulling at your attention. Time is a resource that we don't have an unlimited amount of, just simply speaking. So daily mass, make a plan for it. If you don't feel like you can, or maybe you can't do it every single day, say like, all right, so I know that for my schedule, Thursdays work. We can do that. The whole family over there. Be intentional about that. And might help to make a plan with your parents, make a plan with your spiritual director about, okay, maybe you don't have time to do 15 decades of the rosary each and every day, but you might be able to make one decade work really well, and that is something that's doable, that will increase your love of our Lord and Our Lady, and then be able to maybe work that up into 5 decades of the rosary each and every day. So that just small baby steps if you are not currently praying a lot, but it has to be intentional, because otherwise the way of the world will continually just take your time, take your attention. How many push-ups can Mr. Sebastian do? Okay, so I just did 20 consecutive this morning. I'm trying to work my way back up to 40 consecutive, which is nice. Maybe this should have been my flex from earlier, but we actually did this in the Mother Divine Grace School office for a while, but we worked our way up to do 100 consecutive push-ups, and it took months. And there was like this protocol that we followed online, like kind of a regimen, where you start off with like 10, then you do 20, then you do 30, and then you do 20, then you do 10, and then you just max. And you do that kind of in a very varying degrees. And we were able to, almost everybody in the office, I'm pretty sure, get to 100 consecutive. It was pretty good. Can't do that anymore, but I think that probably right now I could do 30. I could do 30 consecutive. Have I ever thought about growing a handlebar mustache? I have a little bit. Sometimes when I shave my beard, I just leave it like this. And my wife doesn't necessarily love that, so I don't do it all the time, but maybe I could go away with a day or two of just the stash. I don't really like the goatee anymore. I'm mostly either a full beard or a mustache guy. But mostly it's full beard because of what my wife loves. Happy wife, happy life is what they say. All right. What movie / show did Mr. Sebastian watch over and over as a kid? Like I said, Star Wars growing up, I watched episode 1 all the time. I really loved it. It's still a soft place in my heart. All like the pod racing. Now this is pod racing. You get Watto and whatnot. Oh, it's the Jedi. It's the Jedi. I really liked that. Lately, one of the fun things, I watched the Magic School Bus growing up, and it's really fun to have my kids watch the Magic School Bus too, because I really liked those. Story Keepers was one of my favorite. That was my jam. I love Story Keepers. And then VeggieTales, of course, classic. What advice does Mr. Sebastian have for seniors as they leave MODG? I would say make it a point to stay close with your parents. I think that's a really special thing, because it can get very easy. Some of you guys will be incredibly homesick, and that's normal, especially at the beginning as you develop. And so you might be calling home all the time. Some of you might be completely comfortable and happy to leave home. Senior year can be tough as you get that senioritis, but some of you might actually have that, but maybe have some tension with your parents as you are developing your own thoughts and wanting to be an adult. But hey, call your parents, maybe just even Sundays. Your mom would love to hear from you. Your dad would as well. And remember that this is, yeah, it's an opportunity for you to make the faith something that is really your own. So be very careful to establish uh, good protocols for, where you're going to go to mass. Be careful about the friends that you're developing, because you are still, like, this is a big jump for you. Even if you're not even living on your own, just being exposed to new things, new ideas, some that might be congruent with the way who you want to be and with the faith, and some that might not be. So you will be buffeted a lot by the world. Our goal at Mother Divine Grace School at MODG, not Monge, is to have your faith be something that can withstand that. And so that's the advice that I would give parents and faith. Make those a focus. What would Mr. Sebastian say is the best thing about the NHS? It just makes me so happy, like, to see all your guys' inside jokes. It's great. Like, I love seeing the vibes that you guys have are immaculate. Is that what they say? The vibes are immaculate. And again, that leadership, being able to focus and be like, run your own structure basically, is awesome. It's a fantastic thing that you guys are doing, and it makes me happy to see each and every year. What was Mr. Sebastian's most embarrassing moment on Zoom? I'm trying to think. I've fortunately avoided many really bad moments. I'll say I was leading a webinar the other day, and just in the middle of leading the memorare, just blanked. Like, I think that it's because whenever I do a memorare, I'm usually doing like 9 in a row and doing it really fast, and I was doing it slow at the start or maybe at the conclusion of a meeting, and all of a sudden it was just like not there. Fortunately, my fellow people on Zoom helped me out, but it just was like instantly just gone. So that was kind of embarrassing. What was my favorite ice cream on a hot day in California? Okay, so I just had a great ice cream the other day. My parents were just visiting out for the consultant conference here at Mother Divine Grace School, and we went to Ojai Ice Cream, and I got a mango raspberry sugar cookie ice cream. Incredible, delicious. Now I do tend to, on a hot day, strawberry is pretty good and maybe a little bit less sweet, but that strawberry or the raspberry mango hit very nicely that day. I love that. All right, what was my favorite movie or movie genre? Lord of the Rings is really good. I tend to like action movies. And now I'm trying to think of what I would call my actual favorite movie. It's like you're trying to decide a favorite song. Different things have to meet different times. There's a specific now, and I would say this might be one that you always check with your parents before you watch a movie, and this one is a little violent, but No Country for Old Men is I think it's a very good movie in terms of how we combat the evil. I don't know that it has the answers, but I think it asks the questions pretty well, and it's the Coen brothers as directors, although I think that they've done some interesting things that I don't necessarily don't agree with, but they have kind of that Flannery O'Connor element of looking at the evil in the world and yet still saying that there is something good that can come out of this world because of God, which I really like. So that's what I would say, like thoughtful movies like that. What inspired Mr. Sebastian to start the Pope Leo the 13th chapter of the National Honor Society, and why did it inspire him? Really good question. Something that I liked about it is the way that it provided an opportunity for our students from so many different states. We're in 50 states, we're in 30 countries, to come together and have something that isn't just classes, because classes can be smaller and have an academic purpose. It's not just about fun. Now, also the NHS isn't about fun. You guys do a lot of great work for our organization, but I wanted another point of commonality so that you're leaving the school having good times and good memories, and maybe having more friends than you would otherwise, and seeing that you can have that connection. So that's what I really wanted to see, and it's turned out that way so far. And Pope Leo, awesome Pope, fantastic Pope. I hope that he ends up being a saint someday. I think he could. Ooh, we've got a long one right here. It was Mr. Sebastian in any classes with any of the current MODG teachers while he was still an MOGG student? Yeah, so Mr. Enders and I were, in addition to being roommates at TAC, we knew each other from classes at Mother Dangbury School. And actually, I'm sure this has been broken, but we were an undefeated debate team partnership when we were at MODG. We were unstoppable. So much so that people didn't necessarily like that. And so they put us against each other for the final debate of the year. And I honestly can't remember which one it was. It might have been, because we do the Protestant, when I was there, it was like the Protestant Reformation, but I think it could have been on the Inquisition. And it ended up as a tie, which was, I mean, you can't really make it up. So that was fun. Matt Spear, actually, he and I had a lot of classes together too. I think a lot of Latin classes. What's funny is that I have ended up teaching a lot of our current MODG teachers as well. Like Andrew Kunstl, who's now Dr. Andrew, he has far surpassed me. And others as well that I've too many to count. So that's been a fun thing to see. But yeah, James and Matt, we were in classes together. Would I rather fight 10 chicken-sized horses or 1 horse-sized chicken? I'll always do the smaller horses. Like 10 chicken-sized horses, absolutely. I can jump up on a table. I can take them out one by one. A horse-sized chicken is terrifying to me. They could be towering over me. Like that beak could do some serious damage. I can't take it out. I have to dive for its legs or something. I don't think I could. The talons, they just impale me. I'd go for the horses. The horses, the terrifying thing about a horse is its hooves when it's a big horse. It's not gonna hurt me. It's not gonna hurt me when it's a little tiny horse. So yeah, I'll go with the 10 chicken-sized horses. Is Mr. Sebastian an aggressive driver? No. I can drive fast, and here in Southern California, you can't be a passive driver. But one of the things that I've learned, and partially is that my dad is a little bit of an aggressive driver, so I'm just like, you need to calm down. It's not good for your health to be stressed about driving. It's also not good for your health if you are, putting yourself in harm's way. Driving is a crazy thing that we do, and it's kind of amazing here in America that we actually are able to make it work. We all get very good at it. We're a country that's based off of it, so much so that we're just like, we don't need to train to be drivers. We can just crowdsource that. That's why Uber and Lyft are a thing. So I'm a good driver. I haven't really been in any accidents, and I haven't been in any accidents. And except for I got rear-ended one time and stop and go traffic and on the 405, which that's not my fault. We were literally stopped. But yeah, so don't be an aggressive driver. Just get through when you get there. Talking to you, Mr. Von Spakovsky, it's not going to add up. It's not going to add up. If I was an animal, what would he be? Peregrine falcon, favorite animal. Love it. Fast, diving. I love Frightful from My Side of the Mountain, and then Frightful's Mountain, I think, is the sequel. Peregrine falcon, epic bird. Fantastic bird. If I could be a character from Lord of the Rings, who would he be? And why? I always loved the elves when I was kids, and then you'd play I'd be like Fingolfin or Glorfindel, like nerdy people like that from the Silmarillion. But lately, I've really been liking Aragorn. I think Aragorn, as that Ranger Aragorn, is pretty epic, and just a great model of leadership. I think so. He's pretty fantastic. I think you can learn something from all of those characters, but Aragorn holds up a special place in my heart. How old was Mr. Sebastian when he got over being afraid of the dark? It's a great question. I should ask my parents this. I do know that I terrified some babysitters because I would sleepwalk. And there was one time I think that they called my parents just terrified because I was just sleepwalking and just pointing at a picture on the wall and screaming, which sounds like some terrifying horror movie stuff. So maybe I just thought I slept too deeply and I didn't I didn't. Uh, uh, I wasn't afraid of the dark, but I don't have a memory of being afraid of the dark. Some of my kids do, but I don't have a specific memory of that in my mind. All right. Okay. Last thing. Last, yeah, last board. This is great. You guys are going to know so much about me. No, I will not share my social security number. Who is Mr. Sebastian's favorite singer? Gosh. Um, is it bad if I feel like I have to look at my um I have to look at my I mean I feel like it has to be a solo artist, right? Um it can't just be a like band or something like that. Um and then for some reason, of course, um yeah, all of my favorite songs are not my favorite songs right now. I did like Coldplay growing up a lot. That was like very much my my era. Jimmy Eat World, I really would like too. Um, but yeah, those would probably have to be my favorites. A lot of it is very my millennial music. Um, so you know that always carries an asterisk with it right now. Um, and yeah, I mean, you look at some of like the Motown people that actually have like the best voices ever. Um, and like Aretha Franklin is just incredible. Stevie Wonder, awesome. Diana Ross, and even like Michael Jackson. I mean, God rest his soul. I hope that he gains salvation. But yeah, yeah, I would say Aretha Franklin, pretty epic. Just through voice. What saint would Mr. Sebastian like to have coffee with? Um, I would love to have coffee with Saint Catherine of Siena because I think that she is one of the greatest examples of obedience while still sticking to your guns because she ended up getting the Pope to come back from Avignon um, by working with him all the time. She didn't just abandon him. St. Catherine of Siena was one of those intense people. I'm rereading the Secret Inset biography of her that I highly recommend. And her feast day was just a couple days ago, as of the recording of this. So St. Catherine of Siena would be awesome. And that's what my youngest daughter is named after, St. Catherine. What memes does Mr. Sebastian, whose memes does Mr. Sebastian like most of the attendance polls? I am not able to talk about this because I can't choose favorites when it comes to my chapter officers. If I had to pick, I'll say Ceci. Sorry, MJ. Sorry, Maya. Sorry, guys. Which pillar of the NHS does Mr. Sebastian value most and why? I think they all work together, and like I've mentioned before, I think leadership is the one that we are most working on in our chapter. But they all have to come together, and I think the most important is character because that's the bedrock of you as an individual. That's morality, right? That's virtue. If you don't have a strong character, you're not going to be able to be a good leader. You're not going to even be able to be a good student, and you're definitely not going to be able to serve others in a good way. So that I think character, what you're gaining from your parents, is the main top one to work on. That's the most important. It's kind of the bedrock for just being a virtuous person in general. Who does Mr. Sebastian think is better, Jane Austen or Flannery O'Connor? I like them both for very different reasons. I would say I got to go with Flannery O'Connor because she has a really good understanding of grace. She was Catholic at the end of the day. I gain a lot from Flannery's writings. I gain a lot from I really gain a lot from Austen's writings too. I think Austen is maybe a better author, but I think Flannery really has a lot to do with she understands grace in a very proper way. So I'll go with that. Why did Mr. Sebastian choose TAC for college? That's a really good question. I loved that I was going to be able to pursue an understanding of God uh, in a way that suited my style, my own particular style of learning. I really, and actually, this might be the best style of learning, is just that Socratic dialogue method. Um, I had a lot of really wonderful teachers, including Mrs. Berquist, who thought I would do well there. And I came to the summer program. I fell in love with the place. It's amazing. The tutors are the smartest people in the world. You have a bunch of friends who are good Catholics and really able to, like, the mass, 4 masses there every day, confessions before and after. The access to the sacraments is amazing. You're in beautiful Southern California, or now you could be on the East Coast too if you want to be a little bit closer to your family that's out there. Um, it's a really incredible education for not only understanding God, but it provides you with a lot of the skills you need to succeed in any institution, any job that you can work on. I didn't get a second degree after TAC, and I've now worked in development. I've worked in hospitality. I've worked in communications. I've done like a little bit of writing. So you can, with those skills, go into anything that you want to do. So yeah, TAC, great choice. Highly recommend looking into it. Awesome institution. When and why did Mr. Sebastian start teaching for MODG? Because they asked me, and also I loved it as well. It was a job that I had right out of college, which I really loved, and I really like working for a Catholic organization, and especially one whose mission I believe in so much. I'm a graduate myself. My children are enrolled in the school, so carrying on that tradition, something that I really believe in Catholic classical home education. It is not only from the principles of subsidiarity, but also just from the sake of the obligations that we have as parents. It's the most direct way of embracing our role as parents to be the primary educators of our children. And yet it's an understanding, I think this is what MODG does in such a beautiful way, that it is kind of impossible to, as a parent, think that you can teach absolutely everything. Many people are like that. So we at MODG want to help provide more people with the opportunity to stay homeschooling for as long as they can, while also being able to have success in college and whatnot. So I teach literature because a parent might not have the literary background that I have to be able to teach. We have some incredible math and science instructors to help if you have the gaps in that area. Amazing theologians in our institution that help with that. So what I love, and this is one of our class speakers actually said this several years ago, that there's kind of three ways of thinking about education. One is that parents should have nothing to do with their kids' education. We obviously reject that. The Catholic Church rejects that because we are the Catechism says that we are the primary educators of our own children. The other is that it's only the parents that should be the ones to have anything to do with their children's education. That's a little bit more tempting for us as homeschoolers, but still misses the mark, because even if you don't enroll in LS classes or TS classes, you're going to have your grandparents who are helping in your formation. You're going to have your parish community helping in your formation. So that is like, already we're having multiple people contributing. And we at MODG take that middle path where it's like, yeah, the parents are the primary educators, and we help to fill in whatever gaps you feel like you might need in kind of a very customizable sort of way. So it's one of the things that I love about MODG. I think it's very well thought out, and still is, I think it's one of the greatest educations that you can get out there too. And our scores speak for themselves. All right, last couple questions here. When did Mr. Sebastian start growing his awesome beard? This one I've got to think about. I think I shaved it off right before Catherine was born, so 3 months ago. So this one is about 3 months old or so. And I occasionally just shave it off and keep it trimmed and whatnot. But I first started growing a beard right after college because I got lazy about shaving. I didn't want to shave every day. And I still have to, trim it up and whatnot. But it's been about 7-8 years since I regularly had a beard, maybe even 8 or 9 years. And this one specifically is about 3 months old. Last question. What is the craziest thing Mr. Sebastian did in college? Now, you guys have to remember, I was a prefect. I was an RA. I didn't do a lot of crazy stuff. And this might be a really bad way to end. But I, yeah, maybe this will be a good thing. We stole one time. We just decided to sneak over to a dorm next door to us before anyone was awake. We weren't breaking curfew or anything because I remember TSC grad, and we just tried to kidnap one of my good friends, a friend who's now a godfather to one of my children. I was in his wedding, he was in my wedding. We were just like, I don't know what we were thinking. Like, yeah, we'll just kidnap him in the middle of the night. And he lived in a room with like four other guys too at that point in time. It didn't work out, so we got him out into the courtyard of the commons. There were four of us in every arm, and then he managed to get out. They all poured out, and then we were all just like facing up together. And then we just were like, "Oh, that was great! We almost got you! Almost got you!" We were like hugging each other. Then went back to bed. So that was pretty crazy. I hope that counts. Well, that was me. Sorry guys, it's a little long, but I'm Mr. Sebastian, and that was NHS Who You Are, Who They Are, Who Are They. Hope you know a little bit more about me now. Cheers. God bless you all. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for all of your hard work for the National Honor Society and for Mother Divine Grace School for MODG as well. God bless.